NVIDIA CEO came out. I shouldn't say came out. NVIDIA's CEO. I said came out in another segment, and I was like, that just sounds weird. Let me switch that to spoke about or made a statement on or something because I don't know. Anyway, NVIDIA CEO predicts the death of coding. Jensen Huang says AI will do the work, so kids don't need to learn. It's the article from Tech Radar, and I actually believe the guy. What do you think?
I would too, Mr. Benja. If you see the discourse, the freak out that happened over Sora. Is it Sora? That's how you pronounce it.
I guess
I said Sora. I said Soros last time. So, the hedge fund, George Soros, hedge fund manager, came after me. Don't ever talk about my name again. So, anyway, Sora, the AI text to video feature came out. And obviously, we were talking about all these co-pilot, these code assist projects that if you're writing code, they pretty much write everything for you. I would agree, Mr. Benja. It does seem like that is not becoming the most useful skill. And I don't think there's nothing wrong with that. You remember when we were growing up, or even right after you were in the midst of it, and I started getting into it. You gotta learn coding. That's the new language. It's like that and Mandarin, right? You have to learn those two things if you want to survive in the new millennial, right? Oh crap, I don't know
yeah.
Mandarin. Oh no, I'm not gonna get a job. These kids are like, so it's funny. It's like what we worried about is no longer being worried about. And so I would agree, Mr. Benja. I think when you see the power of ChatGPT and what it can do with Claude and all these other whatever AI that Google's going to create or rename from Bard to Gemini,
Yeah.
you can see the power really resides in how you think about how you, like we had a talk about this before about some idea I have. I have to think on how I'm going to, you know, create the messaging around what I'm looking for ChatGPT to get what I want consistently. So I think that's a more powerful, and that's what coding was anyway. It's just
Yeah.
because I think there's always three things in it. This is my insight. There's the tool set, what tools you need to do. So coding, you have to have your environments, you need to know what language and all that stuff. So that's a level of knowing. Then there's a skill. Do you know how to create if then loops? Can you set up data structures and stuff like that? And then there's a mindset is, okay, what am I doing with this anyway? What am I building toward? It's not, I can't have these skills if I don't have a vision of I want to build an app to do that. And so you have to have all three in line. Now with ChatGPT can get rid of two of them. Guess what? Now you really focused on the mindset of what you really want. And so I
Yeah.
think that is where we need to go.
So what are those three things again for the people at home?
I'm just dropping nuggets, man. That's what happens when you listen to long form podcasts. Mindset, skill set, and tool set.
Yep.
And
I
shout
like
out to Myron Golden. I got that from him. So it wasn't a Theo original. I wish it was. I could make it mine if I switch it up, but I give him a shout out.
it. Now you need a little brand banner. The original. Hey everybody. Boom. Knowledge. Drop knowledge and then message. Oh gosh. So good.
Yeah. Yeah. What about you, Mr. Benja? Do you feel that as one who went all in on programming for years, do you feel some kind of way about that?
Yeah, man. People are finished. You think I don't do it now? So when we were
We're
in
done. It's done, son. Wrap it up. Human race. It's a wrap.
so y- in in the 2000s, I think I realized at some point where I was like, okay, do I go heavier into coding or other stuff? And it was like there were the artists and the programmers. You have artists, programmers, and designers, just like the trifecta of game development. So there was the artists and the programmers, and I'm sitting here watching artists make stuff, and I'm like, yeah, production art. I don't know about that business, man. I just don't know about it. Then I looked over at because it's like Russian kids who were like 12 and 15 were making illustrations that were looking like college graduates. I don't know what kind of learning programs they're doing and whatever gulags in Russia that who got set up. It's work that Photoshop and Illustrator. I don't know. But their stuff was looking really good. And I'm like, I don't know if I can't go too far down that route. Programming, same thing. It's I don't know. I can't go too far down that route. It's just crazy. I ended up looking at code with a bunch of comments in it that weren't in English. And I was like showing up on GitHub. It's like, okay, I don't even know if I want to deal with this. And then that's when I started getting into more of the MBS, marketing, branding, sales side of things.
I never heard that before. That's a whole acronym.
That's one that I created.
Okay. Benjamin Original.
Yes. Is it more BS Or is it marketing, branding, and sales?
I use that on podcasts, right? This is
Yeah.
not the first time you say, okay.
Yes. I have it in a notebook somewhere. MBS. I thought I was brilliant for that one. I need to do a late night commercial of the whole thing. But yeah, that's when I started going into I saw the value of social media, branding. At one point, I was at work and I realized I started doing a deep dive, yes, at work, into the Facebook tools. And I'm like, holy crap, Zuckerberg is trying to take over the world. And I just realized all the tools. And I was like, okay, let me start going into the marketing, sales, branding side of things. And yeah, I saw the easy automation. I saw the people coming over from overseas, the outsourcing. I saw the number of tools getting developed. And I was like, yeah, people are, in so many words, done. And now with AI, it's gladly throw AI work at any problem now and just figure out a way to integrate it, to set up processes that are based on it to from whatever end of development. And I don't see how a lot of people, at least in the mid range, are going to survive this. Like the people on the very bottoms do whatever, people on the very top do whatever. That mid range is getting blown out.
I think that's what I was arguing. I think that mid-range is that corporate America person, right? Like in their ways, just mid-level manager or whatever, making six figures. But as soon as that job is gone, bruh, because they coming hard, man.
Yeah.
It's coming hard for those jobs, man. Because you're right. I'm looking at once after you and I had a conversation, I said, okay, let me get back into Chat GPT and just AI in general. And so I'm starting using the brainstorm more. I'm supposed to go out and talk to some investors. I'm starting using that to help me with that. It can do competitive research now. I didn't even had this 18 months ago when I was started doing trying to
Yeah.
talk to investors. It's like, hey a minute, I could do all this now. And don't even get into the video stuff I can start using. Like, how can I leverage AI to get more videos out and do stuff? So it's not now my brain is just like exploding with just man, dude, I can just
Possibilities.
see, dude, man. Every day it's like I write down every day $1 million idea. And
Nice.
it's like easy. It's so easy now because every time any market, any idea is I can do it because of the tools that we have now. To your point, it's funny. We'll cover this briefly as two woke bros. One thing that's funny to me, two
Uh-oh.
two woke bros, is funny to me is the AI tools. Even though they're good, they still have a little twinge of some otherness in there. And Benja, did you
Yeah.
see that fiasco with Google and Gemini recently?
Comedy. That's all I gotta say, bro. That
Do you wanna talk about
had me
what they
laughing.
did? Do you talk about what they did?
Why you gotta make me the guy who gets the soundbite and gets canceled?
Flip the script. They
All
call me
right.
CEO for a reason.
There's a crazy creative guy out there. He'll do it. He'll say anything. Yeah, so I'll just read this little quote here. Google shares fell by 4.5% Monday after prominent investors in Silicon Valley attacked the company for releasing an artificial intelligence powered image generator that sometimes refused to generate images of white people and gave historically inaccurate results, such as showing images of racially diverse Nazis. Yeah, this thing became a meme so fast and it didn't do anything for the quote unquote woke agenda and actually probably bolstered things from the anti woke agenda. I'm wondering how this got out actually, because what's happening is somebody has decided, okay, if we let stuff go normally and we turn our AI on, then it seems like it's a little racist or it picks up a lot on a lot of the negativity coming from the right side of things. In this case, it could be the left side too, but in the case that people are pointing out, it's being too diverse. So imagine asking for, I'd like a picture of 1950s Norwegians all sitting in the native town of whatever. And it'll throw a chubby Asian guy in there, an old black lady, and you're like, what? This is not realistic at all. What are you doing? And so people accused it of rewriting history and this can't be allowed and Google's stupid. And then, yeah, Google turned it off and was like, sorry, we'll be back in a few days. Check with me later.
It's just a comedy of errors for Google, who's supposed to be the creator of the whole concept of Transformers and what makes ChatGPT possible is obviously this whole incident with the offensive nature of what they did. One of the things they said they did is like you wanted to see white people would not give you white people images
Mhm,
if people who are in Sweden or something like that are majority are white people, but they would give you black looking Swedes, which is interesting. Or they would create different versions of Nazis and different demographics. And so that was weird. So it's almost and then we talked about the fiasco when they had Bard launch, when they couldn't had some issues with the tool when it first launched. So it's just like comedy of errors for Google. I don't know what's going on there, man. But I agree. We get back into the whole angle that people are going after. This is the sentiment that these social media tools are against the right and have a liberal agenda. And so anytime that these tools display that, the right's gonna jump right on that because it bolsters their opinion and their viewpoint.
mhm.
And then obviously someone's gonna say, we have an AI that's this perfectly right. But how many times have you seen social media things, tools, and all that be so incredibly offensive and all that? People get upset. No one's like trying to take down Twitter, but maybe they can't because of Elon. But it's
Yeah.
just weird, man, to see how Google is just making all these comedy of errors from a business standpoint. That's the part I don't get. And then from the social cultural representation thing of it all, I think it's definitely just a target on these tools. They got to realize, man, we're in a different environment. You got to be extremely careful how you present these tools.
Yeah, I actually whipped out Gemini right now just to see if I don't know, sometimes when it's almost a marketing play where they push something too far
Mhm.
and then they're like, "Oh yeah, okay, we just wanted to gauge everybody's reactions. Yeah, we tuned down. Okay, we tuned it down a little. You can try it tomorrow." It's been several days now since this came out, and I asked it to create me a picture of a woke bro. And it says, "We are working to improve Gemini's ability to generate images of people. We expect this feature to return soon and will notify you and release updates when it does." I'm like, okay. So I tried to throw it some heat when I said, create a picture of a woke bro. And then I was like, yeah, create an image of a football player standing on top of a car. This seems like one of those generic things an AI would usually provide. And it said, nope, we're not displaying any people.
Oh my
So
goodness.
they just
This is
took
crazy.
people out of the equation entirely, which means this was a blatant and gross mistake. There was no strategy here. It's just like they broke it.
Sheesh, man. Like I said, it's whereas you look at OpenAI and what they're doing is methodical, right? They're talking about obviously they reached ChatGPT as a test case and it blew up. And the biggest thing, the Sora, right? We talked about that where they released that text to video, and Hollywood is basically going crazy. Tyler Perry is saying he no longer wants to invest millions of dollars into new studios because AI is going to replace all that. OpenAI is very intentional about what they're doing, and Google seems haphazard, and that's unfortunate. And like I said, I think we'll talk more about this AI stuff, Mr. Benji. I think we're very curious how it's going to truly transform. I don't think it's always going to be positive, Mr. Benji. I don't think it's going to be positive.
Hey man, AI is taking jobs, killing people, but I'm not sure it's always going to be positive. That's just how that sounded to me. I'm sorry.
Guess what, guys? On that note, we try to keep it light here as the end of the world is approaching. The AI dominance, robot overlords are coming.